Headbangers and metalheads, welcome back to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. This is Gomp Dog, and I'm joined by
Brian. Gomp Dog, I want to ask you, how are you feeling tonight?
And I am doing great, very evil and very metal.
Dude, I think you're about to be doing even more metal and feeling even better. Guess what we have tonight?
Tell me, man.
The one and only Stu Hammer Marshall of Pain Division, Empires of Eden, and Death Dealer.
That is one hell of a metal guitarist.
Dude, it's one hell of an interview. Freaking awesome. Great guy, great guitar player. Why don't we get to this? Because I know that you and the fans are going to love it.
All right, here he comes, Stu Marshall from Death Dealer.
Time to bring it up and bring the hammer down! Welcome to the Great Metal Debate Podcast, folks. This is Brian, and tonight we have Mr. Stu Hammer Marshall. Stu, welcome to the Great Metal Debate.
Brian, thanks for having me, mate. As we set off the air, I'm very apologetic about how long it's been to get together, but we're finally here.
No, man, we're just glad you decided to do it, man, and appreciate your tenacity to get it done. All right, let me just start with a statement, Stu, and this isn't any bullshit, BS, excuse me. Listen, I love your guitar style and the way you play, man. I just want you to know that straight up. This is not this is a fan cast, if you will.
Well, oh, mate, thank you very much. I stopped, getting into the mindset of being a guitarist years ago and just started working on writing and being a band guy. So when anyone mentions my playing, internally, it's kind of nice to go, oh, yeah, I play guitar as well. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Excellent. Now, Stu, I always like to start with sort of the real roots of any metal journey.
Sure.
Did you have a moment at the beginning of your journey where you heard a piece of metal music and you just said, oh, man, that's it. That's my music, and if I can, I'm going to make it my life?
Yeah, definitely. I think, as we all know, as metalheads, there's something that happens internally to all of us that's a special thing, And,
right.
And for me, it was Kiss in the 70s, and just seeing my first band when I was quite young, and I think it's something that's in all of us. It's very easy to describe that it's a feeling, and for me it was Ace Frehley. There's no question.
Excellent, the Starman. Listen, when did you decide to do this for a living?
Well, I guess it's the dream of every teenager to be in a metal band, and
right.
For me, it was just, okay, let's go do it. I think a lot of the time, as you get older, you can kind of ponder on decisions you made when you were younger, whether they're good or bad decisions. And for me, I always just wanted to work hard, and I wasn't lazy, and really just went after it. Grabbed a guitar and went as hard as I could. There's really no science behind it, sadly.
Yeah. What age was that, Stu?
I would have been about 16.
Wow. Young and determined, man. That's what it takes to make it in metal. Excellent. Now, can you just give us a brief rundown of your sort of history in the bands?
Yeah, sure. A lot of people aren't really familiar with me at all. So I guess the snapshot is born and raised in Sydney, Australia, and just joined a whole bunch of metal bands in my teens and early 20s. And I got lucky in joining a band called Dungeon in Sydney that was already quite well established, and they had, like a lot of bands, a lot of bands have member changes and whatnot, and I joined that band just as they were signing a deal with a European record company, and things started to take off for that band quite quickly.
Right.
Band had a lot of success in Japan, and we toured Europe with Megadeth. And so that thing, after about 5 years, came to an end for me. I had to leave that band, and just through personal, I'm sure we'd all agree that the band was quite volatile, but we loved the band. And so that band ended up folding and reforming under a different name because a lot of the members had left. And then from there, I moved on to my own thing called Pain Division, which was kind of like a really big departure from Dungeon, which was I wanted it to be kind of like a waspy kind of black label society thing. And, it turned into something quite fun. We did some touring in Japan, and musically it was a very big departure from European power metal.
Right.
And, just through the passage of time, I guess, looking, when you're in a band, it can be frustrating just to get things done. And that can also make me sound like a control freak, but I'm not. It's just, you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I really want to record, and someone's off having a family, and which I have a family and all that.
Yeah.
I understand all that, but some people change their trajectory as they get a little older, which is everybody's right to. And so I started Empires of Eden because I had all these songs left over from Dungeon.
Yeah.
And I had all this material I thought was really strong, and it really should have seen the light of day. And so I started that up, and I was also mixing and mastering at the same time. So I was able to handle all the production myself, and I wrote all the music myself, and then hired some singers to sing on these albums. And it became something that was, even to the singers that were performing, a real purity of art, because I was dealing with guys, and I won't mention names, but I was dealing with some guys that were essentially forced to sing a certain way. It's like their ideas weren't heard, and so I said, well, you have complete control over the lyrics and melodies. And so what you hear with Empires of Eden, in some cases, can be quite special because it's the singers actually expressing themselves exactly how they want to.
Yeah.
So really, mate, that is still ongoing, Empires of Eden. And
cool, very cool.
What I did, I took a trip to the US about 2.5 years ago now. And just to meet the singers, I'd made some really good friendships with Carlos Zimmer, and I wanted to meet up with Ronnie Monroe because I just produced and mixed his album, or co-produced, mixed and mastered his album. And there were a few buddies there I wanted to meet, so I hit the plane. And along that trip was really magical because I got to go and see Priest, and one of the guys I went to go see Priest with happened to be Mike Davis from Halford.
Right.
And that sort of was hooked up, and obviously I was hanging out with Sean Peck in San Diego, and I at that time met up with Rhino in Vegas, and one thing led to another, and Death Dealer, which is where we are right now. Oh
man, listen, Stu, you've worked with some amazing singers through your career. The Empires of Eden Hammered Down is so awesome. I'm gonna mention a few names, and forgive me, I'm gonna leave somebody out probably and murder the name, but Udo Gorgievsky, Rob Rock Stevens, Grimmett DeMio, and what was that other guy? Sean Peck. Listen, have you found that your style of play flows better with certain singers, or it is just a total band chemistry thing?
Well, I think I pick singers out of Empires of Eden I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
So I'm immediately, there's some DNA that's immediately connected to who they are as singers that wants me to work with them. That's the cool thing. So
very cool.
But when people heard Total Devastation, which is the track from the Empires of Eden album that I first did with Sean, heads would turn. A few of my friends know who the celebrity singers are, but they went, who is this guy?
Oh man.
And if more than one person said there's something happening between you and him with chemistry, you guys have got to do a band together. And when I was over in San Diego hanging with Sean, we just hit it off, and we just started writing songs, and I don't know whether it was him or I, but we're just like, dude, we got to do something with this. And we, even though the distance is ridiculous, we have to make a band happen. And he asked me about who my dream guitarist was to play with, and I'm a massive Manowar fan, so working with Ross was really the dream. And he knew Ross, and I kid you not, man. I think it all came together in about 24 hours, the whole thing.
That's great. So you just kind of described the birth of Death Dealer right there, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Look, the birth of Death Dealer really is Empires of Eden, from a writing perspective. Because again, like I said to you off air, I've got a track in front of me now from the new album that Sean and I wrote only yesterday, and so yeah, that came together really organically and like a normal band would. There was no grand plan. It was who do you want to work with, and it wasn't really about selling CDs. And we understand the supergroup tag from the fact that we've got guys that have played with different bands, but this is everybody's main group. Now this is what I know Sean's still in Cage, but Sean will tell you, Death Dealer is his number one priority. Same with Ross the Boss, same with Mike, and our new drummer Steve. It's our main band.
Well, the chemistry is palpable on those albums and those tracks, and I mean, dude, it's just freaking awesome. I mean, it really is good stuff.
There's a lot of heart and soul put into those albums. I feel very proud of them, and I hope if people want to hear them online, they're available. I think there's a bunch of videos up on YouTube. I think you'll hear something really, really honest in the music, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about the new stuff here in a minute, and dude, I'm super excited to hear it. Now, I tell you what, so let's shift gears just for a second. Now, metal is kind of blown up and comes in all different shapes and sizes now. We got power metal, death metal, melodic death metal, thrash, deathcore, endless categories and definitions. And in those different styles, guitar has a variety of roles. Many bands don't even have solos. Can you talk about the progression of metal guitar and what you think of the progression and where you think it's going, like alternative metals, folk metal with Fintroll, symphonic metal revamp? What do you think about that kind of stuff?
I think it's great. The more different styles there are, the more people are going to be engaged in metal.
Right. I
think we've proven it's not going away. Like traditional metal took a massive bashing in the 90s. I do end up listening to a lot of stuff from the 70s and 80s even still. When I get in my car today, my playlist in there is pretty much bands, Old Maiden and Priest and King Diamond and
oh man, a man after my own heart.
Yeah, man. It's not that the new stuff's no good at all. That's not it.
Right.
From a sociological point of view, there's a reason that people go back to listening to music from when they were 16 and 17. It's a scientific fact that there are emotions that are brought about that time that create a feeling of well-being, and that's why we go back to that stuff. I don't say for a second that if Number of the Beast wasn't, if it was released today, I still believe it would be the incredible album it is. But I do think albums, when they're released, have an impact on us, at a certain time. And
definitely.
Yeah, so
that's why. No, I'm sorry. I'm saying that's why you like the cartoons of when you were a kid, because it brings back nostalgia, and you love nostalgia.
That's right. That's exactly right, mate. So yeah, I just love the metal, love the old stuff.
That's kind of what the Great Metal Debate is about. I'm an 80s fan, and my partner, Gomthog, is he loves the new metal, and so we often argue about that. And so when I say you're a man after my own heart, I definitely mean that.
Can I offer, Brian, too, mate, is that, I will listen to, like, I'm really into Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, excellent. That's a great band.
I really just like it. I don't know why I like it. I couldn't tell you why, but I just like it.
Yeah. All right, Stu, let's stick with guitar. Now, I kind of backed off metal for a long time. Job and kids. I have a family, too. But the kids are getting grown in the new career, and I'm back in metal. And I say that for this reason. Metal's new to me again, and guitar is not just plugging in an amp anymore. There's lots of production that can go into it. Talk about the difference in guitar between when you first started and now.
Do you mean the difference in how I approach it, or the difference in what's out there?
Yeah, the difference, well, both. Tell me what you think about the difference between, what's out there versus what happened when you started.
Well, the really super cool thing is that you can go and buy an amazing guitar for under $500 now.
Oh, yeah.
When
Lots
I was
of
a
good
kid.
stuff.
I'm sorry, bro.
Lots of good stuff. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. Forgive
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no, no, not at all. Yeah, you can go to Guitar Center and buy a secondhand Gibson Les Paul for $700. When I
Oh
was a
yeah.
kid, that was completely out of your sphere.
Mhm.
I also really enjoy um, current technology. Like, I don't endorse any of the product, um,
Right.
but I like all kinds of stuff like Line 6, and I like Digitech stuff. And, you know, I'm a guy that, again, it's purely what people say, and I'm not, everyone can have an opinion. But I put some
Right.
videos up on Facebook and whatnot, and
Yeah.
I'll get, oh, how did you get that tone? Well, it's coming out of $100 Line 6 amplifier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a few people are like, oh, well, I just spent $6,500 on a rig. It's like, you don't have to do that these days. So that's my point,
Yeah.
is if you use your ears and you tweak, you can have great tones for very low dollar output. And, great guitars out there at the moment, great gear. So I'm loving that side of it. Um,
Right.
the only thing that sort of got me, and I'm not one of those guys, but I'd like to see another Eddie Van Halen. I'd like to see another George Lynch. You've got amazing guys like Gus G, obviously at the moment, but for me,
Right.
the greatest guitar hero, the last one, was Zach Wilde, and I got to hang with
Yeah.
Zach a fair bit recently, and yeah,
Yeah.
he's kind of like the last guy to come through that was really the great guitar hero. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking forward to that next person coming through.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And some of my favorite videos of you in particular are the ones where you just sit down with a guitar and just crank out some shred or some sort of melodic play, and I love that kind of stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you're a guitar aficionado, Stu. You trade, work on, sell, and you play many different guitars. What setup do you use right now?
Well, for me, in the studio, I've been endorsing ESP guitars for 12 years, and
Right.
that's a thing that is pretty well known if you know anything about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got about 30 guitars at the moment, and at any one time
Oh,
there's 25 to 30, um, which sort of pales into significance when you insignificance when you talk to Zach Wilde. He's like, I got 270 Gibsons in the fold. It's
oh my God.
uh, and probably more. Probably more. But yeah, man,
Oh
I
yeah.
just plug into whatever effects are rolling around the studio at the time.
Yeah.
I do like Line 6 gear, and
Yeah.
I plug into that, and I've got a couple of heads here. I've got some Marshall Randalls, PV5150s, and
Yeah.
it just depends, man. Like, I end up sounding like me no matter what I play through. And one of the things I'll say, and I feel really strongly about this, is that it's in the hands, not
Yeah.
in the pedal you use. It's not in the amp you use. It sounds crazy, but it's
Yeah.
all in the hands. If you can dial in a great tone, you'll sound like a different person every time.
Yeah. The man makes the music, not the equipment.
Yeah, the equipment aids it.
Right.
I got an opportunity to jam through Zach's gear on the road, and
Oh man.
he he's like, he asked me to put some mojo on his guitar, and I'm like, okay. And I sounded exactly like me through his rig. Like, I
Yeah.
I could not sound like him
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't have it in my hands. So yeah.
Excellent. What do you think of drop down tuning these days?
I think it can be cool. I think we've got maybe 2 tracks on the new Death Dealer album that are drop detuned.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think it can be used really effectively. Obviously, Sabbath did it. Tony did it
Right.
to great effect, and Ross did it in Manowar to great effect.
Yeah.
I think Each Dawn I Die is like dropped down to C sharp. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's Death Dealer. Let's talk about that. You have 2 classic guitarists, you and Ross. What was it like writing together with Ross the Boss?
A dream come true.
Yeah.
The early stuff that he played on and contributed to was massively influential to me. And we become really good buddies. We talk pretty much every day on on a tool called Skype, which it's not Skype, sorry, Voxer, which works out well for us. And we're always talking about guitar ideas, and you know, he loves Thin Lizzy and same sort of stuff as me. So we've really enjoyed playing guitar together and always talking about ways we can push the envelope a bit.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you got to hang out with some pretty cool people on the European Metal All-Stars Tour. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We did, I think we did 10 shows across Eastern Europe. That included like Sweden and Finland and Russia. We went to Russia, which was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got back about 4 weeks ago from when we're talking now. And we got to hang out with all the guys because you're on the road all the time, and everyone was really super cool. Hanging with Udo was excellent because, you know, we did the Hammer Down track together, and I'm just such a huge Accept fan, so that was great. I was Zach's a true gentleman, and every inch the generous legend that people think he is. He's just such a great guy on the road. And Joey Belladonna from Anthrax became a good friend of ours. Max Cavalera, man, that guy, when he walks out on stage, every single place went crazy.
Absolutely.
And it's great to see these professionals on the road, and they're all, you know, as gracious and as cool as what you might think they are.
Yeah. You know, there's a photo of you up on Facebook that you put up of you and Udo and Zach at the bar. I love that photo. That had to be an amazing, just sort of sit down right there.
Yeah, I actually wasn't even expecting the photo to be taken. I think that was the first night of the tour. We were in Sofia, and we'd all finished the show, and we went back to the bar, and I think even behind me there was probably about 30 of the celebrities there as well. It was just such a great night.
Yeah.
First night of the tour, you want to just let your hair down. Well, if you had hair, I don't have hair. And just have a few drinks and party, and we had a blast. So
excellent. All right, Stu, I like to go in what I call a lightning round, where you just give me sort of one word or one or two sentence answers to questions real quick. You cool with that?
Absolutely.
All right, who's your guitar icon?
Good question. I have a top three. I have the Holy Trinity.
Let's have it.
Which is Neil Schon from Journey, who I haven't met.
Excellent. Then
there's Steve Lukather, who I have met from Toto. And a guy from Canada called Pete Lesperance, who played guitar in a band called Harum Scarum. By far the most underrated guitarist that ever lived, and one of the best guitarists that's ever lived. That guy he's incredible. So I got to hang and meet with Pete on tour many years ago. So that's it for me.
That's a great top three. What's your favorite Death Dealer song to play?
To play live is I have to be Hammer Down. Yeah, the place goes crazy.
Yeah, I love it. How do you get up for a show if you're having a bad day?
How do I what? I'm sorry?
How do you get up for a show if you're having a bad day?
The show is the reason that you get up. The show is the joy. So it's actually really easy. It's really not a problem.
Excellent. Now, forgive me for this one, but you're from Sydney, and I had to ask it. Vegemite. What do you think of Vegemite?
Oh, it's fuel for life, mate.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Beef jerky.
Oh, it's a good guilty pleasure. What about ghosts? You believe in ghosts?
I'm getting there.
Okay, excellent. What's the hardest guitar solo that you play?
Triumph and Victory from the Japanese bonus track. That's Insanity.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song. All right. Now, Stu, let's kind of wrapping up here. Is there anything you've ever wanted to be asked that no one's asked it?
No, I can't really think of anything, sadly.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Now, here, tell us what's up and coming for Death Dealer and any other projects that you got going.
Well, Death Dealer's working on our second album. We've partnered up with a great new global publicist. The second album, we've got 12 tracks together for it already. And we've played it to a few people, and they've given us the seal of approval. So that's coming up. We're really busily working on that. I'm actually mixing and mastering the new Cage album as well.
Oh, excellent.
As we speak. That's occurring. That's going to kill people. That's going to be so good.
Ancient Evil, yeah.
Yeah, very busy year for all of us, and I'm really hoping we can bring Death Dealer back to the States. If not, sometime this year, do a wide-scale tour next year.
Oh, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now, where can fans get merchandise and music for Death Dealer or kind of anything else that you're involved in?
Please visit deathdealer.co. That's .co. Everything you need is there. We've got a web store. We're about to start putting up some limited edition vinyl. All of our clips and music is there. You can check it out. We're actively on Facebook. If you haven't dropped us a like, please do so. We're there all the time interacting with fans. So if you've got questions, all you got to do is put it up and someone's going to answer you really quickly. Facebook, and we're also now connected on Twitter and Instagram. So if you go to the Instagram's kind of cool, Brian. I'll tell you, I actually take photos from the studio and put them up all the time. So Instagram's one of those things that I didn't really understand until recently. And if you want to see some of the making of the new album and exclusive stuff, we put it up there. So check out deathdealer.co. All the links are there, and please drop by and say good day.
Yeah. We're going to have those up on our Facebook page soon. And for all those fans, listen, let me just tell you that Stu and the guys from Death Dealer and Cage also, he's not kidding when he says that they're very interactive with their fans. It's great, and I've loved the experience. And so I just want to thank Stu, the Hammer Marshal of Death Dealer, and thank you, listeners. Stu, can I ask a favor? Can you play us out with a little metal guitar as we go?
Yeah, sure.
Stu the Hammer Marshal, folks. It doesn't get better than that.
Cool, mate. It's been a pleasure.